This is Ryan and Michelle, and welcome to the Celebrate MarriageCast, where we hope to restore and reclaim godly marriages through honest and real conversations.
Welcome to episode 45. We are so glad that you, our listener, are joining us today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for working on your marriage. And we want to say this up front. If you need additional help or marriage resources, we're always there for you at celebrate.church/marriage. Additionally, we have a Instagram page, Celebrate MarriageCast on Instagram. We post a bunch of shorts there. Pretty fun ones, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely.
So those are kind of fun. I was just trying to think of the one this past week. Just fun little zippy things that can kind of be midweek reminders for you. So check that out. And as always, just share with your friends. You never know what they're going through. And when you share that, it really could help someone's marriage and relationship. So, Ryan, we have some guests today.
Yeah.
We have Lucas and Amy Gravel. Welcome back, you guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Friends, fellow churchgoers, and soccer teammates.
Yeah.
I think when you were here last, the recruiting was happening. If I remember, right?
Yeah.
We were in the recruiting process.
Yeah.
Is that right, Ryan?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And now here we are, halfway through our summer season. You guys
Yes.
on the team.
Crazy.
Been a
Orange
blast.
Crush. And Amy and I had a plan for today, but the guys weren't really in on it. But we were going to wear our safety orange shirts. So I thought I would just bring this along.
Yeah. It's really nice.
I think it's a good idea, Amy.
It's beautiful.
Ryan and I thought the exact same thing.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Should I just hang it in the middle here for there we go.
MVP.
You guys had a great game last week.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. Husband
Yeah.
and wife goals.
That was pretty awesome.
That's amazing.
So it was 2-1 against the other team, and both of our goals were scored by a Gravel.
Yeah.
One by the missus, one by the mister.
Yeah.
That
Our
was pretty
son
awesome.
pointed that out. He came over and he was like, what did he say to you guys? Like husband and wife team for the win, or
Yeah. He was
husband
so
and wife
excited.
goal? Yeah.
Yes. It was
So-
the best.
Yeah. I have noticed too. I mean, you guys should feel pretty good because we're like at the top of the rankings here.
Mhm. Yeah.
I attribute
Have you
it
checked
to,
it today, Lucas?
to
I
the
did.
two of you.
Yeah, we're
Being
sitting
on
in
the
the
team.
2 spot. Oh,
Yeah.
thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
My first year ever playing. A couple injuries, but it's been really fun.
It's kind of fun to watch you play, Lucas, because I feel like you're kind of like a bull in a china shop. Like you're just running around like crazy, and you don't like you're good, but you don't really know like all of the things. Yeah, our neighbor's kind of like this too. Our
Yeah,
neighbor Brian is
yeah.
kind of like that when he's first started. But
It's
you're just like
awesome.
you're running, and you're like, I'm gonna do it fast, and I'm gonna like get there, and I'm gonna like kick and try to score. But like I don't know, sometimes you're kind of just like tumbling around too.
Hmm I feel like a giraffe sometimes, or like a fresh born colt. You know, like my legs
Yeah.
don't feel like they're doing what I'm
But
supposed
like,
to do.
but you're doing it really well. I mean,
Right.
you've had goals, so and Amy,
Yeah.
you're like defensively on fire. You had some amazing saves. There was one that was like going in and out of nowhere. Amy zips by and scoops it out. I'm like, that was going
Yeah.
in, and then Amy, and then last week with the goal too. You're great on defense and offense. So,
Offense. Different story.
anyways, it's been fun to have you guys on the team.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
Are we talking about sports today? I think we
Kind of. So our pastor says this often, just to jump in here, that a battery cannot put out what it doesn't have. So, if a car battery is dead, right, you can't start it. The vehicle won't run. So the same is true with our marriages, with our lives. We must be healthy ourselves in order to give anything to anyone else. That includes our spouse. That includes our kids. So if our battery is dead, we have nothing to give and nothing worth giving to our spouse. I think this is such an interesting concept, and we kind of want to revolve around today around that concept of, what charges your battery, what drains it, what charges it, and really kind of revolve around that question of, how is your health? Are you keeping yourself fully charged? What are those things that you need to do in order to keep yourself charged? What are those things that are draining you? that's really what we want to talk about today. And so does it revolve around sports or soccer? Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's really what we're talking about today. So we're talking about staying healthy as individuals, which therefore leads to being healthy as spouses, as parents, because it's really crucial. It's crucial that we take care of ourselves, and therefore we have things to give.
Yeah.
So that's, it does. It does have to do with sports. It does have to do with soccer. It has to do with a lot of things.
It can be different for every person.
Absolutely. It can be totally different. Just because we like playing soccer, we realize that not everybody plays soccer, but
it is incredibly fun. If you've not tried
it. It's very fun, and there's a lot of components that make it fun. And I think you can find that in whatever it is that you like to do, those same components. So as we talk about this, I think it's really important to identify first, what are those things that you find that really drain your battery? So I'd like to ask Lucas, Amy, we'll kind of maybe just run through this and just kind of, what are some things that you guys find that really like drain your batteries?
Good question.
So I feel like the biggest thing, because I love fitness, I love working out, I love soccer. That's one thing that really fills my cup. But I used to put fitness and soccer as an idol. And I feel like that drained my battery, because then I was trying to compete so much with others, and then I was comparing myself with others. So I feel like that really depleted me.
What were you doing? Like, were you doing competitions, or was it just like trying to reach like a certain weight or like level, or what were you competing? Just this like idealistic, like metaphorical, like I want to be like that person, or what was it?
Yeah, it was a lot of comparison to other people. Because of course I do beach body workouts, so I compare myself to the people that are doing them, or just anybody in general, anything I see come across Facebook. I know you've mentioned that a few times too. But I would put fitness above faith. And then when I finally flipped that, that's when I started to fill my cup instead of drain it or deplete it.
That's good. Can I just ask, how did you go about flipping it? I mean, that's not like something you just like, I'm gonna flip it. Not gonna make this person, I think you can have a role model or someone you look up to, but like, you're right, not idolizing that person. How did you do that?
I feel like it was just coming to church every Sunday, getting in that repetition. And then it's really all about consistency too, and discipline. So once I was finally getting disciplined and staying in the scripture every day, being in the word every morning, that's kind of when I started to flip the script, going to classes and
Yeah. Like finding your identity too in Christ, like the more that you're plugged into the source, knowing that that's who he made us to be, and not having to look for that validation out in the world too. Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. That's good.
I feel like when it comes to taken away from us, the concept of like lethargic, or like comfortable, right? You get to a point where, and it was basically me. So Amy's been working out postpartum Landon. So for 6 years straight, every single day, working out. And I've always been watching, and then I don't know what happened. It just January actually, which was weird. I didn't like associating it with January. Because you
didn't want to be one of those people.
One of those guys.
Right.
I don't know what happened. Because I'd see Amy's posts, and I'd see because she's motivating a lot of people with her posts, and I'm just one that sees it too. And I think it just flipped, and all of a sudden I'm going to the gym, and then I've been doing it for 7 months. I think I've been to the gym 88 times, so it's
nice.
like 4 times a week. I think is what I'm to now, and I've loved it. Like it changed everything. Like, waking up in the morning, the endorphins you get from working out, it makes you feel less tired during the day. And then the confidence. I struggle a little bit with body dysphoria. Look in a mirror, and then the concept you talked about battery, look in my mirror and look in the mirror, my birthday suit. And when you don't completely love what you're looking at,
sure,
you struggle a little bit with putting love out.
Sure.
Yeah, I think, well, I can relate to that body dysphoria. Is that what it's called? Dysmorphia? What's the word for it?
I think a
Dysmorphia?
dysphoria, but it could
Okay.
be just, I could have the wrong one stuck in my head.
So I remember there was a point in my journey, and I've shared about this, but I came to this point where I was like, you know what, Michelle, when God looks at you, he does not see like junk. So like when you look in the mirror and you're like insulting yourself, like God, like you're almost like insulting what God made, right? Like you should want to take care of your body's your temple, but yeah, that's a tough thing to be in that where you look and you don't like what you see.
Right.
But just know that like God made you good. God made your body good.
And then with the discipline of going to the gym, the confidence I've received from it, basically taking into consideration, like you said, the body's a temple. Like it's not mine. I have a, eternal, trying to think, obligation, if you will, because I have inside of me, the Holy Spirit. And my job is to take care of the body. Body's not my own. It's like a rental property. So to put in the effort to be happy about my skin I'm in and, take care of what God gave me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really great. I mean, going like to what you said, and I think there's so like comparison, that's what comparison is the thief of joy, and I think so much of that is it's so true. And I think for me, part of, I mean, I know I still look super young, but,
Yeah, we do.
But part of it, this has been a shift as I've gotten older. Part of it's even a comparison with myself of saying, hey, you're not 20 years old anymore. Like, stop holding yourself to that standard of, of whether it's soccer or whether it's running or whatever it is. Like, hey, like you're doing it. You're putting in the work, and part of this is really, the shift that I think I've been making is really this difference of, what health and what wellness actually looks like. It's different than you were in your 20s. Thinking like, you have this picture of a person that you should look like, but I think really just focusing on health and taking care of yourself, and that looks different as you get older. And that's something for me that even soccer, like my soccer game is so entirely different than it was even 2 years ago, but having to be like, okay with that and saying, okay, hey, I'm still out there doing it. I'm still playing. I'm not the player that I used to be. That's okay, because I'm still doing it. It's still filling my cup. I'm doing these things. But I think there was a long time, where it was so draining to me because I was looking at it through that lens of like, I'm not doing what I used to be doing, like, and looking like so negatively at health and at, wellness, and just being so frustrated and almost having it being depleting where it's just draining because I can go play and, have a good game, but I'm looking at it like, oh, I missed all these plays. Like, years ago, I would have, I would have made these plays.
Yeah. Ryan, I appreciate you sharing that because I remember these conversations. I remember these car rides home from the soccer games where they were depleting conversations where you were so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
And as a spouse, I feel like that was a tough thing to watch because it's like, no, you did great. But I think that was exactly it. It was you were comparing your 30-year-old self to your 20-year-old self and then your 40-year-old self to your 30 and 20-year-old self when you were, a collegiate athlete. And the reality is like, we are in our early 40s now and we're still playing soccer. And that's really incredible that we get to go out there every week and do that. And I think even the skill that you still have, I was just telling Lucas and Amy this because they haven't gotten to see your play like as long as I have, but you are an amazing athlete. You are like the top assist giver for our team. And like people in our league know you like because you're such a skilled player. You are consistently getting goals. This season's been a little different. I feel like the makeup of the team, but typically you're like our lead scorer and assist giver and you see the field. And I mean, all of that aside, even if you didn't score a single goal, like the fact that you can get out there and play and that we can play in a team together is such a great mindset to look at. Like, we get to do this. Like, look at this super cool, fun thing we get to do. All four of us get to do on Thursday nights. Go out and play and exercise. Like, how many people aren't able to do that?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, we have working bodies, these, you know, bodies that God's given us that we're able to do this. So yeah, that's a great shift.
Yeah. You know, and I think a lot of people fall into that when it comes to health, fall into that same trap of they're comparing themselves, you know, or comparing to someone else. And so like, well, I can't do that. So they don't.
Right.
You know, I think it happens a lot.
Yeah,
I think a lot of us fall into that category. And people always ask me because they see my fitness videos and all this stuff. And they ask me, so how do you do it? I'm like, you just have to start now. And then just keep going. Even on those days that's hard. And I kind of relate fitness and faith a lot together now since I started. I feel like faith kind of led to my discipline and fitness. So I kind of compare, you got to work now to build yourself up and be powerful on your off days. So when the devil's attacking you, you can beat him. So.
Yeah. I think, I appreciate what you said, Amy, about just starting. I think if I had to answer that question about what depletes me, it would be the times that I'm not doing it. And we've shared about, you know, the past 2 months since this car accident that I was in. And for a long time, I wasn't able to do anything. And that was like probably the darkest, hardest time for me personally, because coming out of the accident, not only was my body sore, but then sitting at a desk all day, like, what does that do? It like adds to the stiffness. So not only was I sore from the accident, but then I sat like hunched over at a computer all day, and it was terrible. And I think, like you said, those endorphins from working out, to not have that, it's really been a healthy outlet for me to get back to it. Even in slow ways, I just did a 20-minute Peloton ride, and, you know, I'm like trying to resist looking at other people's scores and outputs and how they finish. I'm like, you know what, Michelle, you got to go do this ride.
Absolutely.
And that, like, that's a great thing. But I think for me, it's like lack of action almost is more depleting. It's like just getting out there and doing something is such a positive thing for me.
Absolutely.
That's great, guys. So what about some things that change us? What would you guys all say for things that give you life? We've already kind of talked about some, but things that you absolutely need to be doing to stay healthy. I would love to hear from you, Lucas and Amy. And then like things that we do to allow us to be able to pour into our spouse. So what things do you do for yourself personally that really fill you up a lot? And then what about like how that pours into your spouse?
So I feel like
you got the nod, Amy. It's your turn. Hey, can I just point out, I love your guys' outfit. You're like matching, but like flipped.
It's like, reverse matching.
It's in this very hip. They both have joggers on, you guys, black and olive, and then olive and black tops. And then you guys pointed out that
you guys are matching too.
We are matching. We have, Ryan has like the gingham, like blue and white, and I have like striped blue and white. Yeah. So, and we did not plan this.
We did not see each other this morning.
We just showed up this way. Here we
Yours
are.
is better than ours because we were getting ready, and I'm like, "What color pants should I wear?" That's
nice.
Yeah,
but like I do think it's the thing that happens over time too. Like you slowly start to. We could. Yeah.
Have any of you noticed that? Like Michelle and I've like. The other day we come out, we're wearing the same t-shirt. Like we both have the same t-shirt. We were going to play pickleball, and I don't know if it's like our pickleball shirt or what, but it's like the exact same shirt. And I'm like, we're like on the same team here. Like, it's great.
First, we are on the same team.
Yeah.
First. Second, I love that shirt. And third, it matches the joggers that I like to wear when I play pickleball.
Yeah.
So probably.
I don't know.
It's a great shirt.
We just start dressing alike, I
Paris
guess.
Saint Germain.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay,
awesome.
So what do you do that you feel like is absolutely necessary to stay healthy? And then how does that like allow you to pour into your spouse? Back to the question here.
So I kind of talked about it a little bit ago, but I like to do these beach body workouts. That's my everyday thing. I have to get it in. Otherwise, I just don't feel like I fueled myself for the day. And I feel like that also turns to fueling Lucas because I am treating my body as a temple. I'm trying to be the best version of myself for him, for our kids. If I'm not working out and getting that energy from that, then I'm not able to fill my cup, so I can't fill their cups and take care of them.
And what is that for listeners? Like, what is a beach body workout? Like, you're going to the beach? What are you doing?
That'd be pretty cool.
So
in South Dakota.
I'm in.
Right.
Well, I guess they technically changed it to body, but it's workout programs, different workout videos that you can do.
You do them from home though, right? I see you like in this little space, and a lot of times the boys are in it.
Yes.
Which is adorable when you post those videos of the boys running around, crawling and climbing things. Yeah.
Oh, Lincoln's all over the place.
Yeah. So you do like what is it, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes?
Yeah, it just depends on the different workout video it is, but certain programs are just 20 minutes. Others can be like 40 minutes. It just varies. It's set for whoever or what you have time for. And that's what I love about it. My biggest thing is I probably wouldn't work out if I had to go to the gym.
Sure.
Because I have my boys with me all the time. So that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And how do you feel like that allows you to like pour into Lucas then?
Like I said, just kind of getting the energy to give the best version of myself to him. Loving myself fully so I can love him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. No, yeah, we're sort of opposite.
Look,
yeah.
You can't just copy her answer, Lucas.
I can't say ditto again?
No.
Lucas,
I thought that was my
did you just say like, Lucas, did you just say like, oh, that's pretty good? Like, it was very good. It was very good, Amy.
Very good. Not pretty good. Pretty, it's a good topic. We're talking about it, not to reduce it down too much. I don't want to, to sound vain or anything like that. But there's benefits to it when it comes to your love life, right? The concept of, like, that's where it came to me too. Like, I want to look better for my wife. I want her to see me walk by, regardless of clothes or no clothes. But the concept is, like, just the attraction, right? Because we've been together for 17 years. So you talked about comparing yourself to the past. Well, we've been together since that past.
Yeah.
So there's the risk of, which I did for a little while, is letting yourself go. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the concept is, I feel like when I'm confident about what I am and who I am, in multiple aspects, then I feel like it's a good thing for both of us. I feel like I guiltily, if you will, robbed her of that for like 5 years. Like just watching her work out like crazy, and I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gonna go eat this ice cream here. No, I'm still having ice cream, but trying to work it off. But no, when it comes to respecting me and like, putting it forward, is we're opposites. I can't work out. I can't do those videos. One, they're really hard. I'm going to admit that. Those are hard videos. Yeah. And I really enjoy moving weight. You know what I mean? So going to the gym.
Sure.
So we really respect each other when it comes to the alone time.
Yeah.
So like we read our Bible separately, and then we come together with it, and then we work out separately. So like I'll do my best to, like you saw the videos of the kids in the room, but I do my best to try to keep them occupied if I can, so that she can get her workout in.
Yeah.
And then she allows me time to go to the gym and get my workout in. So then we're working on ourselves and with the spiritually and physically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
That's great. So you have to get out of the house and go. Mm-hmm. You go to the gym. Cool. Yeah. Cool.
I mean, I think, Lucas, I think that's great. I think part of it is I'm similar in that, one thing that, like, when I get home from work, it's typically the first thing that I do is work out.
Hey, Michelle, I'm going to work out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And part of that is, it's important for me to take that time, because then I can like decompress my day. Mm-hmm. And then I can put that behind me. And then when I'm home, I'm home. Like when I'm done, that's all behind. Mm-hmm. I don't need to think about it anymore. It's already done. Mm-hmm. Versus kind of, I mean, I think it's easy to fall into that, like, 1 foot here, 1 foot here, and you're still kind of struggling with that. You're still trying to think through your day and like all of these things. You're still thinking about work a little bit. And so for me, like that was really important for me to be like, okay, I'm going to take the next 30 minutes and I'm going to do a workout for myself to help me work through my day and then be done. And then I can show up for Michelle. I can show up for our kids. And it's so important. And I can tell the days that doesn't happen, my brain's a little scrambled, and I'm just like, oh man, like what's going on? But it's so important to take that time, for yourself. And that can look different, whatever it is. We're obviously talking about fitness, and that can be lifting weights. That can be, we have a Peloton that I ride. Like,
I was going to say, tell our listeners what that looks like for you.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge part of it's, again, like recognizing too that for years, like we ran and put a lot of miles in, and part of it is as I've gotten older, like I needed to find something that was a little less taxing on my body. And so like riding bike is like awesome. I love it. And I can do that for periods of time, and then I don't feel like terrible.
Yeah.
Still get your heart rate up, still those things. But it's so important. And that's something that I've done that I think has helped just immensely.
I feel like not only does that help you transition, which I would say 100%, it allows you to burn off the stress of the day, but then shift into being fully present and active in our family. So that's been really cool to see. And I appreciate that as a spouse, that I feel like that's a huge way that you both take care of yourself, but also our family.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool for the kids to see too. They know that you go and do that. But it's also been a great competitive outlet for you.
Oh,
because you found a way to take, and this is just different seasons of life. I mean, we have medal racks full of dozens and dozens of half and full marathons. Ryan has more full marathons than I do, but in ultras, but medals from these races that it just honestly like hurts to run. I don't really enjoy it anymore. I don't know why we stopped. For me, that was it. It just hurt my knees.
Yeah.
But you kind of need that like competitive outlet.
Oh,
I feel like.
For
so
sure.
Soccer provides that, but then also the bike provides that because you can compete against other people that, you'll never meet or never see again. But, there's something about passing somebody and
oh yeah, for sure. There's something about that.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
giving people high fives and it's super fun. So great answer.
Yeah.
I did want to touch on something too. So obviously we're talking about different extremes or different workouts, if you will. But with some of the people you guys have had on the concept, I think, and Amy talking about just go out with your spouse or your loved one and walk.
Yeah.
And, we talked about the conversations that you can have with men. Sometimes men won't open up. You sit face to face with them. It's a little bit harder. But I remember couple times you guys had somebody on. If you're walking next to each other, a man will open up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if you just walk with your husband, even just especially with the weather nowadays, it's just doing something as simple as walking. It's still getting out there.
Yeah.
Putting yourself through some walks and, hilly country and then being able to talk with your loved one.
Yeah, I think Ted Cunningham said that. I think Kevin A. Thompson and then Pastor Robert Lewis. I think all three of them said women will just go have coffee. I've had coffee with 3 different people this week. So this is a true thing. Like women are very face to face, but men are more side by side. You're in a deer, what's it called? A deer stand? Deer bind? I don't know.
Deer stand.
Deer
yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
You're in the little thing together side by side. You drive together side by side. You golf together side by side. I don't go do these things.
Right.
You do all these things side by side. So you want to get a guy talking, go side by side. Ladies, gonna walk with your husband, go something side by side, go driving together. So great point, Lucas. Yeah, very good.
Another thing to add to that, though, is I have played soccer for so many years. I think I started at age 4, but nothing filled my cup up more until I got to play with Lucas. I think that is just the coolest thing. He's never played soccer before, but decided to join this year. So just a fun thing to be able to do. You might not know if you like something until you actually try it. Just do it with your spouse.
Yeah. I would second that. I think that playing a sport or doing a sport or activity with your spouse is like really, I don't know. There's just like a chemistry and it's kind of like sexy. Like just to see Ryan, to see you out there just like doing your thing. Like it's really cool and it's so much fun. Like it feels like a soccer date every week to go together. Sometimes our kids will come and cheer us on. Sometimes it's just us, but it's so much fun and it's really been our community, but it does feel like extra fun. I don't think I would enjoy it as much just going on my own. Then it would feel like just my own solo hobby, but to do it together is super fun.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's something very valuable in that. And, learning something new. Like, we started playing pickleball and we never really knew, but we kind of learned together. And now it's something we do together. But yeah, I mean, learn something new. You never know what you're going to really, if someone was like, hey, you guys should go play pickleball, I was kind of like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah, don't write it off.
Right. But then we went and did it and it was like, oh, this was really fun.
So much fun. Do you guys play pickleball? We've taught so many couples. Okay, we'll have to get you out there.
Right.
Yeah, so on Friday, I'm going to give you a list of 30 plus hobbies that you could check out with your spouse. So
All right.
that is on the list.
Yeah.
Yep. Soccer's
Cool.
on there twice just for fun.
That's awesome.
Pickleball's on the list. So
Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's wrap up here with this concept of, really maybe the most important, but let's wrap up with this concept of like spiritual nourishment, right? Because, without that, we truly have nothing really worth giving. So what does that look like for each of you to fill your cup spiritually, to charge that battery? What does that look like on a day-to-day basis for each of you?
So my biggest thing is that's the first thing I go to in the morning. I have my, we're doing the whole Bible in 365 days. So I'm in that group and I just do that right away in the morning. I actually used to do my workouts before I would go in the Word, but I switched that around because I knew the Word was my priority,
that's
not
good.
fitness.
Yeah.
So that's one of my main things, but
Do you do that before you open your phone too? Because that's something I'm trying to get away from, like not going to social or email right away when I wake up.
not always.
No. But you do
I'm working on
the
it.
Word and then work out.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great priority.
I'm really bad at waking up in the morning. I'm not a morning person. So the morning workouts is it's funny. I've been going with an accountability partner. I found a new one. So because I keep going, the discipline to go, and found a new one. But then he always laughing at me every time we show up because I'm still drinking my pre-workout. He's like, "What's the point? It's gonna be worn off by the time you get there." But yeah, so getting the Word early before that doesn't work for me. But immediately after the workout, leaving, I put it on in my truck and my Bluetooth. So I've said multiple times, I'm a listener. So I immediately listen to through the Word app, and then I listen to Chris Langham and his guest for 10 minutes, and then they do the Bible reading after that. So I normally do that, and then throughout the day, listen to podcasts like yours and YouTube videos of other people I follow, and then books. But yeah, I found because I got my earbuds, I'm listening. It's really opening up my mind, the concept spiritually, because I'm just nonstop searching. I think it's been really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then every Sunday we're at church
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
serving.
Yeah.
It goes without saying, that's my bad. Yes,
Yeah.
every Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's really a lot of components to that. The attending on the weekend, the being in the Word. You guys serve together. You guys attend. You've talked about this every time you've been on. The classes at our church, we do classes so people can dive deeper into Scripture, and you guys do those together. And there's so many different facets to your spiritual growth that you guys have done. You pour a lot. You put a lot in. You've planted a lot, and you've watered a lot. And I think those seeds are sprouting, and you're seeing the fruits of that.
Right.
Amen.
Another thing that I tried to reframe my mind with is getting fit will not get you to heaven. Being in the Word will. Feeling yourself spiritually will. When you work on your body as a whole, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me, there was a statement in church a while back about there were a lot of like pew potatoes or, something that kind of tied into fitness, but it was along the fact of you do have to get out, like exercise your faith too. So like live it out, be in the Word, be serving, be tithing, doing those things. Don't just come and take on the weekend and then just go and not live it out. And that's what we say here. Meet Jesus. We want you to meet Jesus, have your life radically changed by Him in a relationship with Jesus, and then be Jesus, going out into the community and living it out. So, yeah, and you guys are doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Michelle?
I think it looks different for me in seasons. I did the Bible 365 last year, and I shared with you guys it took me like 3 years to do, and I'm so proud of myself for finishing. And I got the invite to the what is yours called, Amy? Bible 365 or whole Bible?
Bible recap.
Bible recap. Okay, I must have done the whole Bible 365. It's through the YouVersion Bible app, but I'm just plugging into different books for different like topical studies. Right now I'm in Esther. Our church is going through a transition, and I just really thought of Esther for such a time as this. Her cousin Mordecai had said that, and it's just been really, I don't know, just really kind of fascinating to me. So I'm spending time in Esther these days is where I've been. And Thomas and I went to the coffee shop the other day, and we were just reading, but I need to get a better routine. I'm not a morning person either, Lucas. So we've shared this before that Ryan will usually leave and say goodbye, and I'm still sleeping. So I'm still figuring out the flow for mine. Mine's a little more sporadic, but
sure. Yeah. Yeah, we shared that I'm a night owl and an early bird.
And a morning person.
Yeah, I'm both.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Do you want to share yours? So that's that part.
Sure.
Serving. We're doing this. We're trying to pour into people. I do the stage communicator and trying to nourish my mind and my heart and brain with the word and other leadership books. I feel like we read a lot for the podcast, a lot of marriage books.
Yeah. I mean, I think I mean, we've kind of all said this. I think being part of a faith community is a huge component of that. You know, we've shared that so many times of the idea of influence and being around people that are going to build you up, that are going to bring you closer to God, and I think that's super important for a faith community to be a part of one. And certainly, if you're within the Sioux Falls area, we'd encourage you to swing by. If you're not, I would encourage you to find a local church. I think there's a lot to be said about being part of a faith community.
Yeah.
That's really huge.
Yeah, not doing it alone.
Yeah. I think the word is also very important. I'm kind of in a point of trying to figure out if I'm listening to it right now. I've never been a listener. I've always read.
I love listening. I'm
trying to figure out which one, and so like I'm kind of in this in between. I've been listening, and I do that first thing, in the morning. I'm trying to figure out which way I'm going here because I'm doing the whole Bible in a year. I'm probably halfway through, and I'm a few days behind, but and I've been listening, and I don't know. I also like having in my hand and reading, so I'm trying to figure that out. But
there's benefits to, like you said, the having it in your hand too, like your kids seeing it. And then what's weird for me is I have a photographic memory, like a really good one.
Yeah,
nice.
I still don't want to read. It's the weirdest. Like they could be pretty beneficial because then I'd be able to visually be able to see it still. But
sure.
It's just something about sitting down and reading.
Yeah,
I just can't convince myself to do it. So I almost want to do the opposite. We're trying to do, like you're trying out listening. I do want to try to sit, and I just getting to the point of just being still. That's part of the listening is I'm not really very still.
Yeah,
I'm still in some sort of movement.
But I
get that.
I also think though, like, and I don't maybe do this, but like just this morning, Thomas came in, and he comes in our room. He's up usually
Early. Who knows how early?
Yeah, we don't really know. He just kind of moseys in, and he's like, but he knows what I'm listening to.
Yeah.
He's like, Dad, what are you listening to? And I'm like, I was in Proverbs. And he's like, did you finish the big book already? And I'm like, what big book are you talking about? And he goes, the big one. And I'm like, are you talking about Psalms? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I've already finished that one.
I love that so much.
I'm on the Proverbs. And he's like, oh, cool. But
awesome.
he knows.
Yeah.
He knows what I'm listening to because he'll mosey up, usually I set my phone on like the dresser or whatever, the counter in the bathroom, and he'll come moseying up and look and see what I'm, because he can follow along.
I love that so much. I love that he knew the order and he knew what you were doing too.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So, I mean, I think it's important they know, so that it's not like, oh, I just got earbuds in. Sorry, I'm not talking to you. That they see what it is and they're like, oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's.
You guys, this has been so fun today. Does anyone have any final parting thoughts?
I did want to do a scripture.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Thank you for tying that in because that was part of the question. I don't think I read it, but that was what I wanted to ask. So thank you, Lucas, for
no problem
reminding us. So scriptures that tie in that you think of for this.
Mm-hmm. So I think the biggest one probably be, at least there's going to be a bunch of them. If you start diving in, you're going to find everything. You get it. 1 Corinthians 6:19-20, and I've got the New Living Translation. Don't you realize that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit who lives in you and was given to you by God? You do not belong to yourself, for God bought you with a high price, so you must honor God with your body.
Yeah.
So when you tie it into Amy saying, just start, I think knowing that.
Yeah.
Getting to that point where you realize, like, yes, this
body
is God.
A temple.
Yeah, your body's a temple. Because we hear it a lot, and sometimes it's used for the wrong purposes.
Yeah.
Somebody will use it out of context, but it's definitely the truth. And now you don't need to be, of a sculpture, like amazing, but just put in the time to care.
Yeah.
I think I remember I listened back a little bit to the Faith and Fitness series we had in May of 23. And what they said, just the concept is you see some people that are jacked and look amazing, but then they're spiritually unfit.
Yeah.
And then you see people who, aren't in the same physically, but then they're doing great.
Yeah.
Just because you're in a stepping stone at the beginning and you don't feel as good, and doesn't matter. Starting is what the important part would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And you think about what more you can do for the kingdom when you're taking care of your body that is the temple, like you're able to do more. You're able to do more for God's kingdom.
Oh yeah, you get the energy from it and then the longevity. And you might have some underlying health concerns that could take you from the world early and you get to go to heaven earlier than some. But just being around, and I think that was, Amy hit me a couple times with that too. The concept is, you want to be around a good amount of time for our kids, don't you? And I'm like, that pulls at your heartstrings a little.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think yes. Yeah, the answer would be yes.
Yeah. The correct answer is yes.
Yes.
All right.
Amy, did you have any?
Well, I kind of have a few. That was one of mine, but I always talk about how your body is a temple. You're going to if you put garbage in, garbage is going to come out.
Yeah.
So I think Pastor Reed says that all the time, maybe. I always go back to Philippians 4:13, though. God is my strength. He fuels me. He gives me all my strength. And then Jeremiah 29:11. He has perfect plans for us. Mm-hmm. He always does. They might not seem good to us in the moment, but they're always good. He has the perfect plan. So.
Yeah. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord.
Yeah.
Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you hope in a future.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great way to end our show. To our listener, thank you so much for joining us today on the Celebrate MarriageCast. We'll see if we can find a link to that episode that sermon that Lucas just mentioned to the Faith and Fitness and put that in the show notes. But you can find us at celebrate.church/marriage. Check out our show notes. We'll have our text number for you as well. Send in your feedback. That number is 605-951-0110. And we will give you ideas for hobbies this Friday for 5-Minute Friday. You guys, thank you so much for joining us today, Lucas and Amy. It's been so fun. Always great to have you guys here. So find a soccer team and have a great week.
Go Orange Crush.